Hey everyone, welcome back for day 2 of this Adobe Live. I'm your host, Fabiola Lara. We're back with graphic designer and illustrator Dany Vo. Are you ready for day 2, Dany?
Yes, happy to be here again and take it to the finish line.
Yes. Now, before we get started, if you missed the previous stream, you can always view the replay on Behance or YouTube. Plus, check out photographer Winnie Lau as she composites product photography in Lightroom Classic and Photoshop. Finally, don't miss the Illustrator Creative Challenges with Clady from Print My Soul every weekday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, right before the stream. So tune in and challenge yourself with a new prompt each day. Now, if you're joining us from YouTube, I recommend you jump over to Behance. Just go to behance.net/Adobe Live. This way you can ask Dany questions in the chat and be a part of our amazing creative community here. Lastly, remember you can catch the replays for all of our Adobe live streams, even when we're offline. So go ahead and bookmark this page so you can come back to it whenever you need a little refresh. Now let's check out who we have here in the chat, Dany. We have Hamza, Arshad, Voodoo Val, Red Rose, Blenda, Arshad again. Thank you guys for being here, for joining us for this stream. All right, Dany, I'm going to hand it over to you. So feel free to reintroduce yourself for all of the newbies who weren't here yesterday, and then tell us what we're going to get into for day 2.
Hey, hello everyone. Happy to be here again. My name is Dany Vo. I'm a designer from Montreal. I just moved to New York a couple months ago. I love this city. It's inspired me so much. If you go on my website, here's the work that I do. You can check it out for yourself. But I like to do a lot of things: photography, packaging, art direction, branding. I like to be 360 because I think be multidisciplinary could inspire other designer. And if you want to be a leader, you need to know a lot of things. So I think for 5-10 years from now, I always gonna be a student. There's always something out there to learn.
Yes, your portfolio is amazing. So be sure to check it out, you guys. He has so much cool work covering everything. Now, Dany, what are we working on for day 2 here?
So I'm just going to do a recap what we did yesterday. So we did a packaging for Swiss Mao. It's a vegan cake pop dessert. And we went through the project outline, what this project is about. It's regenerative farming. They take ingredients from this farm and make this healthy dessert for everyone. And we went through top 10 questions applying speed dating. You can go back to yesterday and go through it to understand what each of these questions is about. And then we went to target demographic, brand personality, some short strategy. And we did look at the desert competitors. What are we comparing with? And then we went through the mood board.
So this is the mood board for the brand that we're working on the stream today. And yesterday you got through so much. So give us a little recap of where we're at and then what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, so yesterday we started with a few logo exploration. We look at colors, we look at illustration, test a few out, and we land into this iconic design that you have this cake in the middle. It's very cute. It has its own personality. It's obvious, like it's plant-based with this green color that go across on other flavor. So for today, we're gonna finish up for other flavor. And then after that, we're gonna look at the Shelfset, if it work in the Shelfset or not. And after that, we're gonna design the whole packaging, go for the mock-up, and do some social media, poster, etc.
Oh my gosh,
So,
there's so much to cover today. And I
mhm,
am so excited because this brand is so cute and delicious and vegan friendly. And I just can't wait to see how you develop it further today. I see we have 4 colors now. Yesterday, I think we ended with 2. So we have a little update there. Maybe you could show us, just in case for those who missed it yesterday, how you developed the other colors using that cool tool that you showed us, and then
yes,
we can just get right into it.
awesome. So let's pop in the product photography. It's gonna determine which color we're gonna go for
Yes.
the pack.
I
And
love
we,
the I love the little icon cake balls. They are so cute. And I'm like, does this exist? Like I need it.
I
Because
know.
I'm vegan, so I'm like, I'm ready to
Oh,
buy
you
this. I am your
are.
target demo. Yes, for sure.
So here we have sweet honey banana, and over here we have, let's look at it,
Sweet
sweet
sour
sour
blue.
blueberry. Um, so each of it have its own personality. Triple trouble chocolate is a naughty one, so I have it a little wink a little bit. So sweet honey banana is gonna be a cute one. I think sweet sour blueberry, it's gonna be a sour personality one. But they all gonna be very cute. Um, so I have these colors over here already placed out, but let's play with the last one, the sweet sour blueberry. So yesterday I select the whole thing, just like a shortcut, and then we click through this color wheel over here. And as I said yesterday, there's many ways to do this. Either you keep this all together and just rotate the cursor, and look how fun it
Mm.
is. But in this case, it doesn't work because I don't want to change the whole colors. I want to keep it green because it's a consistent color of the brand. So technique number 2 is you unclick this hook button and you can move each of these color wherever you want.
Perfect. Oh, that's
Very
so
nice.
satisfying to be able to just like quickly select it
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to doing it manually every single time, trying to guess what's working, what's not working. This is such a quick way to understand how the colors are working with each other. And
Yes.
it's so exciting too. I feel like the whole time you're doing it, you're just like, yeah, yeah, getting closer, getting closer.
I know. It could get pretty addicting because oh my God, these colors.
Yeah, you could change it for forever.
I know. And there's another way to do this is you click on advanced option. That's where you're gonna hit show up this window where it's gonna show is your current color and which color is gonna switch to. So let's say I click on the blue, click on this color over here, and you can manually go over here and edit the colors. You have a lot more control this way when you colorize it. Because the other one, you kind of eyeball it a little bit. So this way, it's going to be a little easier for you, in my advice. So
Right.
since it's sweet sour blueberry, so obviously we're going to have some purple and blue
Yes,
for,
purple and blue. Such a good combo. That was my favorite colors growing up. Purple and
yes.
blue. Ooh, it's gonna look so cute because the little cake pop also is purple and blue. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so ready for it. For
Yeah.
anyone wondering in the chat what this feature is called, this is the Recolor Artwork tool within Adobe Illustrator. We're going to be working in Adobe Illustrator today while Dany creates this amazing packaging design. So that's just a little reminder for anyone who maybe missed it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we're getting close. We're getting
Getting
close here.
close. Look how fast it is.
It's so fast. I see even the color underneath the logo change too.
Yes.
So it's all happening at once. Ooh, this is perfect. I'm getting
Very.
hungry. I'm starting the stream
Yes.
hungry. Okay,
And then little detail here and there, and just pick up the colors, and then you're done.
perfect. This looks amazing.
This one, this one. And right now, since we have the color here, now we can have fun and draw their face.
Yes. What are you thinking for the faces?
Swiss honey banana. I'm gonna give her big lips.
Oh, yes. Juicy, right? Sweet
Yes,
honey's like
Swiss honey.
she's cheeky, she's ready, she's flirty.
Exactly.
This is a little reminder for everyone in the chat again. If you have questions for Dany, drop them in the chat. Don't be shy. We're here to answer your questions while he creates this amazing packaging design. So excited to see where we go with this, especially this cute little face. Ooh, what's going on, Dany? What are we trying to do here?
Sometimes this Illustrator show up like when you click on it, there is no. Oh, there is here. I don't know what happened here.
Sometimes it happens when you zoom in
Sometimes
too
it happens.
much.
Exactly. Yes. There we go.
And you're so
Okay.
proficient with that pen tool. You just drew that with the pen tool, right?
Yes. What I say yesterday, practice drawing help a lot for this kind of work because you can't just freehand doing it.
Yes. She has like a sassy pout going on.
Does.
I love it. Okay, so while you're working there, I wanted to ask you some questions about your career for anyone who is interested in getting into graphic design and also packaging design. Of course, if you do anything really crazy, you have to stop us. Let me know. But in the meantime, I wanted to ask your advice for anyone who is looking to get started in graphic design. Maybe they didn't go to school, so they don't have like a clear outline of how to go about it. Do you have any advice for somebody to get started professionally in graphic design?
I would say if you look out there, you have a friend who is a graphic designer, or you can reach out to someone you got inspired. Like, don't be shy, and they can talk, go through it, and then they say what their designer life is. If you see it's gonna fit in your lifestyle or not. And there's a lot of like short graphic design school out there you can take. It's only like 5 to 6 months, and it's totally worth it. Even if for yourself to have a better vision in art. You definitely can go through that. And also there is design events where you can actually meet a lot of like studio owner, and literally like they show up like design over there as well. So you can really get inspired.
Yes, that is really good advice. You have to kind of get in there, contact, like build out your network. If you have one person in design, lean towards them, get their advice, and just kind of immerse yourself in design and see if it's really what you want to do. Do you have any advice for someone trying to get their first client?
So I would say it's a lot about the connection and what you put in your Instagram, on your website. So work really hard in your case study because like the art direction, because the presentation is extremely important. Because let's say your project is a 10 and the presentation could bring it up to a 20. No, I'm serious.
Right.
A presentation costs a lot. So it does cost, sometimes it does cost money taking this photo, but it's really worth it because when, let's say the die line look at it and they saw it's legit, they're gonna put on their website and promote you. So that's where you're gonna get started. People get to know you.
That's so true. Sometimes the presentation of the work can be it's like just as important as the actual work itself, like how you show your process so that people know why they should hire you. That is really, really important. I'm so glad you brought that up because you have a really excellent website and Behance. If you guys haven't checked it out, be sure to go check it out because you present your work so thoroughly. You have like every explanation, you have different ways you present the logo and then the actual, let's say, product in some cases. So I feel like you definitely practice what you preach. And that is really good advice for any newcomers to graphic design. I was wondering, this is turning out so cute, by the way. I'm like looking at her little face. You're going to redo the upper lip. It was too sassy for you.
I I want her to smile a little bit because
she looked a little serious.
She looked a little creepy.
Yeah, she was looking like she was like tough girl.
Tough girl, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna make a friendlier smile. But I was looking through your portfolio and I realized that you created such wonderful brand identity for Super Bloom, the skincare company that is a part of Grove Collective. Can you tell me more about that project? I feel like it looks amazing. All of the different assets. You made so much cool stuff there. What was your favorite part?
So that project is another vegan skincare. So again, it's better for you and better for the planet. And it's a really fun project. How you think like how they really take this natural flower out to the wild, and with science they infuse into your skin and make your skin better. So let's say cactus flower is against the sun. So they take the power from the flower, extract it, and make it as a product. So it's gonna give your skin a protection against the sun. So it's really fascinating the way they do it. So as you think of it, skin product is very transformative. It's kind of magical. So I was using that watercolor texture over there. It's feel really magical. It's transformative. It's in the move. It's worked really well with the brand. And then from the inside, you have that gradient in there, really showing the transformative, the magical of this flower that come from.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous design work. And I feel like you guys have to go check it out because there's so many cool elements to it and colors, and you're just really playing with all these textures. So that is an amazing project. And I'm honored to get to chat with you about it and watch you create this little face here for this girl. You gave her some Instagram eyebrows. She has like
she
very
does.
thick Instagram eyebrows. Tell me what decisions you're making here on this little face.
At the same time, like this, I just want to make it a little more natural as well, because I don't want it to be too attached to man or woman. It could be either way, because today the world is so accepting. So just there's no concrete way, so it could be very fluid. So I want like everyone to feel approachable when they buy this product. Just just stay in the trend a little bit.
Yes, I feel like you really have to keep those things in mind when you're designing now, right? Like you don't want, unless it's purposeful for whatever reason, but you always want to be very inclusive and make sure nowadays that your design is for everyone. And I love that you're thinking about that and not making it, too much in either direction, too feminine or too masculine. I think that's a hard line to balance sometimes.
It is. I think you just need to think about, because like if you think about this brand, they really want to encourage people to join this evolution of changing the planet, because the more you purchase this product, it's like you're helping the planet a little bit, because it's regenerative farming. So they just really want everyone to able to join and become this community all together to save the earth.
Yes, you got to infuse the brand mission into every part of this process. While you're creating these little characters, what do you think makes an illustration more friendly or more serious? Because I think we as humans, we know like in our heads, but sometimes when you go to draw it, you kind of forget and you have to reanalyze, how do I make it more friendly? How do I make it more serious? What things do you look for?
When things are more friendly, it's always round. So even in typography, it's rounded typography is more approachable. So a lot of this, you need to look at the curve, some round, and you want to make it more stylized. You don't want to make it too realistic, because the more realistic it is, it's not as approachable. It's gonna look too serious. So don't be afraid to like, oh, this the nose look right, or this the face look right. Don't worry about it. That's what makes it stylized when it's a little off.
Yes, that is so true. Yeah, because I think like it gives it more of like a cartoon feeling, which feels more childish, more playful, and more relaxed. And I think you're totally right. And I hadn't even thought about how it definitely can affect the type choices that you're making too, right? Because you want everything to have the same energy, the same vibe. Oh my gosh, the blueberry one is so funny. The little dots look like hair, like he has curly hair or something.
Exactly.
It's
That's what
so
is so
good.
fun. So the rest, three of them lying together, it's look kind of fun. Um, this
Yes.
one, I love how she looked kind of like a duck. So
Yes.
let's say here we are. We can have a look at the shelf set right now because I think it's really important before you go through the next step to test if your design work or not on the shelf set, because otherwise you create the whole pack and you find out, oh, it's not working. You know,
Oh,
you
okay,
don't want that
okay.
kind of surprise at the end.
Okay.
What happened here?
So for anyone who is just tuning in today, didn't catch yesterday, Dany always designs directly on the mock-up. So that's what you're seeing happening here when he's dragging it. It's like the full mock-up, is rendering, because that way he can design specifically for that package, which you're now going to test here in the shelf set. I'm very
Yes.
excited for this. I think it's going to look like exactly what you want, like completely different, but still in line. Let's see. That's my prediction.
Yes.
So cute.
So here, if you put one in the middle over here, it's definitely stand out on the shelf set because no one really doing this style of illustration. And, we have our own perspective how to make the food photography look interesting because
Yeah.
everyone else just have as it is. And we really reinforce the personality into the product and make it fun and approachable. And see from far, you need to zoom out to see if your logo working or not. Like right now, it does work, but it's good to zoom out. Sometimes you realize, oh, my logo too small. You have to went back and scale it up. So it's a good
Got
eyes
it.
exercise to see if it's working or not. And obviously, you can tell that it's plant-based because the green is just, you can see it right away.
Yes. Oh, it looks so different from everything
Mm-hmm.
on the shelves, but still fits into the category. And I know that we already love the illustrations on the face. We've all agree on that. But I also think that because it has eyes, it like makes you look at it, right? Compared to
Yeah.
everything else on the shelf. Because we all like always are looking for eyes. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it calls your name. It's like, look, it's like staring at me from the shelf.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's like engaging with you, and you look at the whole set. You're like, oh my god, I want to buy the whole set for myself because it
Yes.
looks so cute together.
Yes. Or at least I'm going to pick it up, right? I'm like, oh, what is this? Because I
Exactly.
see the little eyeballs staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, like when let's say this is not the only design that you're gonna do, you do 10 other options, and that's where you're gonna test which option really stand out, which option really work, and you really narrow down 3 to 4 options to present the client.
Perfect. I love this. So what are we doing next here? I see you're ready to go to the next step. What's going on?
So right here, now we know that it's working. Now, let's say the client pick this option. Now we can start building the whole pack. So now we're doing the top of the packaging. So this is a conversation that you may have to ask the client because the shopping experience on this is in refrigerator. So sometime at the shop, the product stand like this, and sometimes there's like big refrigerator that you
Oh,
look from the
yeah.
top. So you really need to find out because if it's shot from the top, then you may need to put the flavor on the top and then have some repeat the food photography on the top as well so that people can pick it up quickly which flavor are they buying and which brand.
Yes, that is such a good point. However it's displayed is going to totally impact the design. Do you ever just repeat it on the top, like all of the same information that's on the front, also on the top, or do you usually do one or the other?
You just like minimizing either you do sweet smile, cake pop, and girly rose lavender is enough so that people just know where they pick and then they can rotate the packaging after to know more information.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, but in this case, I want to make it a little bit different. Let's say they only shop like this. So I don't need to repeat this food photography at the top because I don't want it to be too repetitive. And I really want to make it's clear that this is like supporting the planet. So I do have an illustration here already done. Um, that we're gonna
Perfect.
put on
Like a
the
little
top over here.
earth.
Exactly. So, you look at it without knowing anything of this, any background about this product, you do have a sense of it's supporting the earth, and it's like spark up your curiosity, and then look around the pack, and it's gonna have more information and go on their website. So this is like strategic part of designing.
Yes, just like a subtle little hint, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this ice cream cake pop is earth friendly, And I feel like you're totally right. These little icons are all giving the consumer a clue of what they could be purchasing. And you basically have to hit them with those clues very quickly. And this is one way to do it, right? Without saying earth friendly, cake, regenerative farm, so much
Exactly.
information. This is one icon to represent everything. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that fits perfectly.
I know. And
So cool.
let's
You're
say
getting it all,
I'm getting
trying
it
to
all
figure
in
out the
there.
size.
Right.
When you're working with packaging like this, do you usually, in your experience, print it out, or how do you test if it's working, the scale of all these items? Because sometimes when you're working digitally, it's hard to understand the scale.
Yes. So it's really important when you design this on your screen, design the actual scale of the product so that because usually the smallest font is 6 to 7. You cannot go smaller than that. So when it's like the actual size here, it's like readable or not. But if you want to make sure, print it out at the actual size. And just
Yes.
kind of testing it as well. And you can look it from far, like stick on the wall and step back and see how it looks. It's definitely help a lot. um
Yes, it's so hard. Sometimes on the screen, you're like, yeah, that's totally the perfect size. And you print it out, and maybe it's huge. It's so big. And you
yes.
didn't even know because on your screen, you zoom it down and it looks okay. And I think this
Mhm.
is like common little tips when you're working with print design and packaging design to make sure you
Mhm.
double check, as it's easy to get confused or distracted by the digital sizes of everything.
So here we have a tagline: saving the planet one bite at a time.
I love
So
that.
yes, and we're gonna put here on the top, and those people get it. Like, oh, apparently I'm eating this delicious product and I'm saving the planet. Oh wow, how convenient, how easy it is.
It's so easy to save the planet. Just
Yes,
eat these cake pops.
yes, I can be a part of this so easily, and everyone is willing to buy it,
I love that.
the
Oh,
good
and
selling
yes,
part.
what Sweet Sands on air medium. Okay, lovely.
Oh, I think I got it wrong. It should be
Oops.
panel. Oops,
Sorry. Oops.
they look the same.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like everyone always
Right.
wants to know what fonts everybody's using. So whenever there's a new font, just tell us because people love finding out about new fonts because there's so many options out there, endless
Exactly.
options. And this one does look really cool, like modern, still very legible. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
choice.
The fact that it's stretched out a lot, it gives that really modern look.
Yeah.
And then I really want to repeat the flavor
Oh,
name at the
yes. Yes.
bottom.
Just in case someone's
So,
shopping from the top on one of those deep freezers.
right, just in case, if we don't repeat the food package, at least something. Because sometimes
Totally.
they sell in the little depanneur, and they have that fridge that you look from the top. So just want to make sure that is practical.
Yes. Because even though your clients, let's say Sweet Smile, their direction is to only display it from the front, maybe there's some supermarket that doesn't pay attention and they decide to display it a different way. This way,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of foolproofing the design to work no matter what the experience is, because you can't
Exactly.
always control every in-store experience, as try as you might.
Yeah, because sometimes the client does give the place, instruct them how to display the product. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't.
So then
So I
they don't.
just want to
Yeah,
be safe.
totally, totally. Okay,
So
wow,
this
this
is
is
gonna be
looking
good.
so good.
Yeah, good.
Girly Rose Lavender. I love rose flavored things. Some depending on the place, but most places these days have a good handle of rose, and it's always so fun. These like exotic flavors.
Yes, I did try a rose flavor one. I thought I was eating perfume.
Ah, yeah, that's the opposite. When they don't do it right, it can be a little overpowering.
It's
Yes,
gonna be a
I
little.
totally get what you mean. Why don't you guys in the chat let me know what your favorite fruit flavor for one of these cake pops would be? We have four, right?
Yeah,
We
we do
have
have four.
girly rose, lavender. We have so
There's
you can drop a rose for that one, rose emoji, a chocolate
mhm.
emoji for the chocolate one, a banana emoji, or a blueberry emoji for the blueberry one. I'm curious. I think I would prefer girly rose lavender.
Exactly. You got it so right. I was about to throw that next step.
Yes.
You read my mind.
Yes. I feel like girly rose lavender would totally be my flavor. I'm gonna
Mhm.
drop a rose in the chat so they know. Everybody knows.
So here we are. We have the top view of the product, and it's not repetitive. It's kind of fun to look at the top too. So we can go to the next step and design the whole pack and see how it look.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it looks amazing. I really like that you created the flavor of the top to be a little bigger. I feel like that was really cool. My eye knows exactly what that flavor
Mhm.
is. What made you decide that the flavor should be bigger size than saving the planet one bite at a time? Because that's a
Um,
purposeful decision there.
yeah, because the on the hierarchy, the flavor is more important than the tagline. So you want to look at that first before you look at the tagline. You look at it after, but it's still there. It's not hidden. It's because you don't want the information to like fight with each other. So just to help people to navigate. So when the type is too much the same side, people don't know what to read first. So it's literally help people what to read first, what to read second, so people can read it fast. Here you have sweet smile, cake pop underneath, and you read girly rose lavender. And the side you see, oh, it's vegan, oh, it's planet friendly. There we are.
Perfect. Yes. I feel like you're so naturally making those decisions. And I'm like, wait, tell me everything because sometimes it's hard to know, like maybe what's just at the top should always be first, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what you might naturally want to do, but you're making a really good point here that the most important thing is the flavor. Well, the brand, then the
Mhm.
flavor, and then the tagline. So that's really cool that you're thinking about how the eye is moving throughout the design.
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
so
and okay.
what's going on here, Dany? What are we trying to do?
So here we have the pack path because obviously we're gonna have some legal nutrition fact and ingredient and etc. This section is not too important. Sometimes me if you lucky as me, I have a production guy who taking care of this part because it could get very, very technical because they have some rule, you can do that, or you have to put it a certain type size. And I think he said at some point, some of the information has to be Helvetica font as well. So it all be always to like double check on the information before you deliver to your client. You can hire a freelance person who can look through with you with this, or you can look with the client and figure that out, or the print shop as
Right,
well.
right. Yeah, that can take that kind of stuff is so technical and can change too if the client is still deciding the flavor or deciding the ingredients. So it's really cool that you get to work with someone, a production designer who can help you with that. But even still, you can always get your friends to read it, get some other people to read it so that they can pick up on mistakes. Because sometimes when you're working so closely with it, you
Mhm.
start to like be blind to like the words. You're just looking at the design. So that's a really good tip.
Exactly. So over here we have like a little paragraph informing what a brand is about and what their mission is. So it's really important where you look at the pack in the front is very simple. It kind of like start attracting you like, oh, I feel like it's plant-based, it's planet friendly. I'm so curious. And you turn around, you reading more like, oh, I get it. Then you want to buy
Yes.
this product. So it's a 360 experience of holistic experience. Um,
And you have to add in all those little details to convince them to purchase it. So
yes.
this is really cool. This is a lot more type than we've been working with in the previous parts of the process. So I'm interested to see how you're going to organize it.
Yes. So sometimes, with the client, they like adding a lot of text. So that's where you're gonna call your copywriter come in and save your life. Because sometimes it doesn't fit. And they can short it up and like, hey, this is what you gave us, and this is what we can that is shorter. Because you have to think of the consumer. They're not gonna stand there and read a book.
Right.
So it needs to be short and smart so they can understand right away and grab it. You don't want to waste their time because when it's too long, they're not even going to read it. Then what's the point is it there?
Yes, you have to make sure that the attention that you capture, you use it wisely, right? So if they're going to read it, make sure it's to the point. I love that you mentioned that you work with a copywriter to maybe convince the client to take it down a notch, to edit some stuff out, because that's really challenging. Sometimes you'll have a client who's like, I need to have this entire about the history of the brand on every package, and your copywriter can save you. Have you ever had to do that yourself? Let's say you didn't have a copywriter, you had to explain to the client, this isn't working.
Yeah. Well, yes, usually I have to tell them that it doesn't fit in the package. Just explain them why that the consumer is not going to read. You can just like explain a little bit and just put your website so they can go on your website and learn more about it.
That's
So
true. Yes.
yeah, I think as soon as they understand it, they'll let you short it up.
Yes, just like always, explaining to them why your recommendation is to shorten it up. That always
Mhm.
helps. Now we have this amazing question here. What is your favorite and then least favorite part of the design process, and why?
Um, my favorite part of the design is actually design the pack and color it. I think my least one, that's a hard one. I think it's from the beginning, really sit down and think about the strategy with the client. Like this, like realistic part in telling the story. It could be very interesting. Sometimes they don't buy into the story. You have to come up with another one. So that could be like a little lenient before you start designing it. So that's I would say is my least favorite part.
Right, because sometimes that can take a long time, I imagine, right? Like the back and
Hmm.
forth of the strategy can kind of
Exactly.
make you a little bit, you just want to get in and do the work, but you have to wait for everything to be decided.
Yes, but then that's even the strategy is the most important here to have a successful design is extremely important. It sounds like the most boring part, but it's like the key of success of the design because you need to have a solid background before you come in design that you know what you're doing because otherwise everything just gonna fall apart and the consumer don't get what are they buying.
Yes, yes. So even though it's not the most exciting part, it is still like foundational. You have to make sure you do it right so you can do a good job with the design portion of it all.
Yeah.
Okay, this is looking really cute. I love that you have the little social media symbols there. Makes it look very official, right? Like
Yes.
a real brand.
And over here, I really want the text to pop because I just swapped the font because it's gonna be the secondary font because this font is too stretched out. It's really
Uh-huh.
hard to read when it is like
Too
too many
much.
text, too much
Okay.
text. So I turn another one that is more circular,
Okay.
as it's like a lot easier to read. Actually, the name of the font is circular.
Ah, perfect, perfect. And do you usually limit how many types of font you have in one project?
I would say 2 to 3, three really the max, but
Ah, okay.
usually two.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that way everything stays consistent. But in this instance, you do need a little that third one, but it looks so similar to the other one that it almost looks like a different weight or something, right? Like it could have
Exactly.
been a variation of the same family, and so
Mm-hmm.
that keeps your eye from being a little too from being overwhelmed. So this looks nice. That's like a little advice for anyone in the chat if you're wondering how many different fonts you should have in a project, 2 to 3. and pick the third one very carefully to make sure it
Yes.
matches.
Because if you think of it, like at the end, you're gonna hand it to the client, and if it's too many font, they don't know how to use it. Like screw it up. Because
That's
they,
true.
yes, because they're gonna do it on like social media or like Facebook ad and stuff, and that's where the in-house designer come in, and even you give them a brand guidelines, sometimes it's still it's still screwed
I can
up.
sense that you're speaking from experience here. When you hand off the brand guidelines and you see someone destroying them, it happens. How do you feel in that moment? Do you feel like you need to reach out and correct them? Do you feel like, oh, well, that's up to them? How do you handle that?
I think it's more oh well because you did went through your best to try, and they pay you for what you do. But I mean, if you care, I think you could. I never did. So um
Because it's hard to, like, you already showed them the way. They didn't want to it's almost like when a friend comes to you for advice, you give them the advice and then they don't do it. You're like, okay, no more advice for you. So
sometimes it's really good at it though. Not all of them, but
not all of them, not
not
all of
all
them.
of
That's
them.
true. There's
Yes.
some good clients out there who follow everything, but you're right. If you start adding too many different elements, like 3 fonts, you have more likelihood that they could get confused.
Yes, exactly. Because when that's why when you do your brand guideline, you need to be very, very specific because they just like it's your children. You want to make it look good and make the client understand why, so they can be conscious about it. The more specific you are, the better.
Yes, I totally agree with that. You have to kind of foolproof it for any possible scenario that they might, have a little confusion about. You got to solve it for them ahead of time. And I'm
Exactly.
sure that you do that because you've been so thorough throughout this process and with your presentations on your portfolio that I'm sure your brand guidelines are just as like specific and tight. So
Yes. So
probably that
here,
doesn't happen too much to you these
exactly.
days.
So here, as you see at the side, I want to keep this gritty structure over here. And since here at the bottom, they talk about what regenerative farming is. So think at the top, I'm gonna do a little landscape of a farm.
Oh, cute. I'm excited for that. Um, I love that you include so much illustration in this design. What do you think is like because this is, I think, for people early on can be a little confusing to understand the difference between graphic design and illustration. What do you think the key difference between those two industries is?
I think it's pretty much because like I think when it's come to illustration, it's a little more personal because you have your own style and people come for you because your style and they love that. So you mostly have a little more freedoms to create what you want, and they usually like kind of look at the design and they respect you as an artist. Then when it comes to
Mm.
graphic design, you please them 100% because as a graphic designer, you need to have different kind of style to answer what they want. Because sometimes you have only one style and that's not what they want, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, right. So for graphic design, you have to wear a lot more different styles. But for illustration, you could really just do your style and people come to you just for that.
Yes, exactly.
Of course,
Um,
there are some like design studios that have like a specific design style, but still a lot broader, more range than the illustration
mhm.
only. So
Yes.
that's a really good way to think about it. And how did you go from, I know before you were an illustrator, so how did you go from illustration to graphic design?
Um, I just in illustration, I took it's called illustration and design. So we did have 1 or 2 class in typography and layout. So that's where I like really fall in love with typography and everything. So I'm like, it's a perfect combination. I'm like, well, let's try and make it work. At first, I'm gonna be honest with all of you, it's hard because I don't know what type am I picking. I don't know what am I doing. But it's just train your eyes. How I do is like I look on Pinterest and see what people are doing, what type are they pairing, and that's like training your eyes help a lot for the shortcut of learning.
Yes.
Yes.
I definitely agree with that. And I love to see like an illustrator go into design and just like thrive, right? Because you have such a other way of thinking about visuals, not everything has to be well, you have more language, right? More tools to work with, and you can design icons. It's so fun to see people kind of work between those two mediums. We have a question here, and I'm wondering if you know the answer. Maybe you can give us a hint. People are in the chat want to know if this type of style of design has a name. Do you know? Is there like a specific style going on here that you could give it a name?
I would say it's Memphis-ish. A little bit.
That's what I was thinking too. Because of the bold colors and outlines. So there you go, guys. The name of this design style is Memphis, and Memphis, kind of around there. If you go on Behance or Pinterest, I'm sure you could pull up some more similar kind of style of work if you want to be more inspired by it.
Yeah, because like I think there's a lot of style out there and people like to mix match and create a new style of illustration. So sometimes it's like a mix of everything.
It's a mix, yeah.
Yeah,
that's why that question's a little hard, right? Because it's not like exact, but it's close. Yes. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that opens your world. You can go check out some more different design styles. Oh, I love this, that you're using elements from other parts.
Yeah,
that's so smart. That way you don't have to redraw it. You get to keep it consistent and work a little faster.
Exactly. There we go.
So cute. Bringing it to the foreground.
Just a little bit in there.
So cute.
Because I think like this illustration really engaging people. So it's like really important like just to have it all around. Feel like, oh, like because in the front it's like really abstract form. Landscape, people have a sense and they turn like, oh, in actual form. So it's like an expansion of what you have from the front.
Yes, expanding the world. And because this farming was a really big part for this brand, right? Because we had a whole conversation about regenerative farming. So in order to tell that story a little further, you can do so with some of this illustration. And I think that's so smart without having to like, do a whole history about regenerative farming on the package. You can still kind of nod to it as the root of this brand. So I think that's super smart.
Yeah.
Because so cute.
Because if you think about it, this is a really dry topic because it's so much in science, but with the illustration, make people engaged and want to find out about it. If you think of it, it's almost like a children's book with an image. You want to read what is this illustration is about. So
exactly. You're like telling the story visually, which I think is way more compelling because it's just more universal. Even a little kid could pick it up and identify that it's a farm and that it's plant friendly, even if they can't read. So that's amazing. I love it. And it is looking super cute. Are you going to add anything else? What's happening here? What are we adding to this farm?
So I want this cake pop to be the sun.
Oh my gosh, so cute. That's a really smart idea. It's gonna look adorable with the face and everying.
With a little face,
like
just
that.
like sunshine going up.
Yes, it's like reminding me of like some show. I can't remember the name of the show right now, but oh my gosh, this is perfect. So I love that you're just integrating all these different elements to it.
Yeah, because like this
consistent.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I'm like laughing at it too. Let's have some sun ray.
Yes, add some sun rays. Oh, amazing question just came in from Guto Santos. They want to know, how much time do you spend in a project like this typically? I know this is like a super fast version, but usually how much time would you spend on this level of project?
So it depends, like this let's say this is already at stage 2 or 3 with the client, because at first I only gonna do maybe only two flavor to present to the client to see the consistent green so they understand their brand colors. And after they choose it, I expand. So usually in one design, I spend around 20 minutes and then move to the next design, because you want to do as much a design as possible. And then when you pick the one, you come in and fine tune it. So I think in, let's say I one design from beginning to the end, um, it would take around 30 hours.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
that's just for one, let's say one container, right?
No, I would say from beginning to end, let's say they pick this design and then you go toward until the finish line to it, like 30 hours.
Okay, okay.
Few hours here and there, depend how fast you are as well. Because yesterday I was showing how fast you can work. So I'm not trying to brag, but I work pretty fast because it's important to keep up with the speed, and the more option you show, the better. Because
yes.
Yes, because you
That's
can.
very true, because you're working like against the clock. You have multiple projects going on. You're trying to get as far with one client as possible. So I hope that answers your question, Guto Santos. 30 hours maybe to finish something entirely, but the quicker designs, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get those done before they're in the final stage.
Exactly.
And right now we're doing it in 4 hours to give you kind of the speed run of it all, how he would design and go about a design process. But yes, this kind of stuff does usually take a little longer. Oh my gosh, this little cake pop is so happy. It's just a beaming ray of sunshine. I love it. How many projects, Dany, would you say you're usually working on at once?
So I would say usually from 3 to 5 projects. So usually 3 projects as hats that we do is 3 big projects, and 2, 3 other small things to do, or you can support other designer, helping them. It's good to help them because sometimes they're gonna help you back too when you need a hand.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true. You got to be a part of the team and contribute. And because everyone's working at a different pace and has different projects at different stages. So I can totally see what you mean. Maybe you have a little break, you can help out. Yeah. Who knows? They'll help you back some other time. Oh, I love these are like little cotton candy sprinkles. I don't know what they are, but they add some fun to the illustration.
They are just little illustration of the product itself.
The cake pops.
Yeah, the cake pop. Yes.
Got it. I put it all together, you guys. Took me a second. But it is very cute to see them like in their little space.
Run around. Yeah.
So I know. Wait, where are we at now? What do you think? Are we good with this farming illustration?
I think it's pretty much there. I'm sure there's some fine tune. We don't have to like finish now because we have a lot to cover today, and I think you guys have a really good sense where this goes. You can add more detail if you like.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I feel like I can picture it, but it also is in a really good place.
Exactly. There we are.
So what do you think is next here?
So next I want to make it even more fun. I want to make this cake pop talk to you. So we have some information here, like a shorter version of the other one. Generative farming makes soil health a priority, which in return make more nutrient-dense food.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, that is a really good point, and I feel like really captures what you showed us in the previous slides yesterday in part 1. If you didn't catch that part, you can go back and check it out. And this is like all of that in one quick sentence. I feel like this is where the copywriter came in and made it perfect for you.
Yes. So I'm gonna make it another square. Using
like the shape tool.
Yeah. In cartoon, like when you get that bubble that person talking
The
to
speech
you.
bubble. Yes.
Yes, exactly. This is what I'm doing. But is it square instead? Because our design is more rigid and square. I think circle cloud is not going to fit into the design. So that's why I pick it this way.
Oh, that makes sense. So you're thinking about the other shapes that you have going on in the layout and kind of keeping it within that world, even though you're going to do a speech bubble. That's a really good point because some people may be thinking, why not a circle? But most of this design is square. So he's keeping it consistent there. And that makes a lot of sense. Oh, I can't wait to see how this cake pop starts talking to me because she is so sassy. I'm very excited for it. I wanted to ask you while you're working here with the shape tool, what is some client feedback? How do you help your clients give you good feedback? Because sometimes clients say things like make it pop or, make it bigger or stuff like that doesn't really help you. So how do you help your clients give good feedback?
Usually I would ask them to type it down and send it to me so I have time to take it and then think about the question that you're going to ask back to clarify, because some of it is not very clarified. You ask, keep it more simple. You could ask, so how simple it is. The more specific, the better. As I say yesterday, simple mean very different with different people. So client doesn't pick the same design language that you are. So it's really good to find out what do they mean, because they are business people, right? So they don't have art background. So it's really important to find out what they are about.
Yes. Do you ever have them send you a video or anything like that?
It's never happened because I think it's better for them to write it down. Because when you write down, you're really thinking. When you say it could be a little wishy-washy.
That's true. Yeah, especially because then also you have the proof that they said it, right? You can be like, right here, you said you wanted it to be more simple. And
right.
That's what we did.
You're right, because sometimes it's not one person who give the feedback. There is I don't know, five big teams. So it's good for them to sit down all together and agree in a decision instead of this person say that person say that, and at the end you so confused. So
right,
it's
because
for
you
them
get conflicting.
It's good for them to do their homework and then go into it.
Very smart. Okay. So you got to teach your clients how to give you feedback, help them, help you is a key part of being a graphic designer when you're working with these different brands and when you're working with brand identity and packaging design. So that's a great tip here from Dany. Just ask the right questions, get specific with them so that they can provide you all the information you need to finish something correctly.
Yes.
With no contradictions.
That's totally right.
What is this? Little hands?
Yes, I'm giving the full body. They holding the planet. They supporting it. So the message is so simple when you look at this. It's supporting the planet. So
yes, okay, bringing it to life here with the little. I think it's called anamorphism or maybe I don't know if I'm correct, you guys. That could be something random. But I think it's like that. When you bring a character to life, you give it a human element. So here you're doing that even more. We go from face to full body. Now she's speaking. What could be next for her? She's going to take over the world.
Because in the front you see this and it's oh, she's more talking right now. She's this, she's that. It's so entertaining.
It is very entertaining.
Yeah, you have to keep the entertaining going because it's gonna make they buy the product and make the client happy.
I agree. If you're just tuning in here with us, if you're just joining, welcome. We're on day 2 of Dany Vo packaging design for this adorable vegan cake pop. He's using Illustrator and showing us how he creates this from beginning to end. Right now, we're creating the full label. And if you have any questions for Dany about career, about the packaging design process, bring your questions to us, drop them in the chat, but be sure to drop them in the Behance chat. So come over to Behance. If you're watching on YouTube, go to behance.net/Adobe Live. Join our chat here at Adobe Live, and we'll be sure to answer your questions while we continue seeing this amazing process and this amazing girl just come to life. She's a boss. And yeah, join us over here. Dany,
Yes.
this girl, I feel like she needs stilettos. Like too much if we give her heels.
Exactly.
Then it wouldn't be as juvenile, right? If we gave her heels, maybe, but maybe yes.
It's just a feet.
Just little feet that match the hands.
Exactly. We are, and she's here supporting the earth, just like you're part of this community. You just like her, you're supporting.
Yes, exactly. And I love that you are always working smarter. You're like copy, flip it instead of creating it all from scratch again. I feel like you know that there are little shortcuts you can take that are just going to make your workflow so much faster.
Right. I mean, I would do another phase for the earth that doesn't repeat the other product, but for now, it's just help us to see it faster too, because we have a lot to cover today.
Definitely. It makes sense. I feel like that's something that you mentioned yesterday, that sometimes you just put some illustration in as a placeholder to see if it works before you start designing completely custom. If you didn't catch that on yesterday's stream, that's what he is referring to. And I think it makes so much sense. It explains why you can work so fast.
So over here, I think I'm going to have some ingredient icon like you said earlier, like a rose and a lavender.
Yes, let's do it. I'm curious how you're going to illustrate this.
I think the rose is going to be a little tricky.
Yes, roses can be a little confusing. There's so many folds, but you can just gesture. It can be abstract.
Yeah. Yes, I am. Because when you put into this, usually the ingredient could be a little more elaborated. Let's say I'm inventing this rose petal.
Yes. Okay. Organic rose petals.
Good idea.
You could even add, just to make it 3. Sometimes it's a little easier to, since you have a lot of vertical space to cover here. I feel like that's how design goes, right? Some places you have to cut the copy, and some places you need to add a little bit more to make it all balanced. That's the game. That's definitely part of the game here. Oh my gosh, I'm so interested to see how you do this rose pencil tool, you guys. No shapes, just pencil.
I'm gonna keep it 100% with you. I have no idea how I'm gonna do this, but let's wing it.
Let's wing it. I have a feeling you know how you're gonna do it. I feel like I'm sure you've drawn a rose before. Now you're just gonna make a simple version.
Yeah.
I see it happening, you guys. Trust the process. Because
sometimes it's the beauty of it. When you're not sure, you make it just like blurring your head. That's make the flower so stylized. But like for sure that it gets too realistic, and it's make the sense of like stylistic of the illustration. So sometimes just like don't think too much and just try. Don't be scared, and then it's gonna come out wow, original.
Yes, I agree with that. And I feel like we can see it happening here already. Oh my gosh, I'm so ready for this last little bit. I think, I don't know what's happening next. You guys, we're live. Anything could happen. Let's see. Oh, this is looking good. There's so much you can do just with that pen tool once you really master it. Do you feel like it took you a while to learn how to use the pen tool, or it was natural for you?
It was pretty natural. I had a teacher back in college, and he's really good using Illustrator, and he was very specific. Learning Illustrator, I would say it was so painful in the beginning. But I mean, he was really harsh, but it's totally worth it. I really mastered everything in Illustrator here.
Yes, it definitely at first, when you're just getting used to it, can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially if you're used to using something like Photoshop, and Illustrator has so many more options. It can be intimidating, but you can watch Adobe Lives, you can watch Dany work, and you'll realize that it's pretty simple and you can get the hang of it with just a little practice.
Yeah. Because I feel
Oh,
like, there we go.
this looks
The rose,
amazing,
right?
Dany. I was like, what is
Yay.
he going to do? What's happening? And it just came together. So, wow, my heart was racing. No, I'm kidding. I knew you were going to do a perfect job here.
There we are. Just
Oh my
so
gosh.
stem.
And it looks like curvy because you have curves throughout the design. So it made sense to include a nice
Exactly.
curve. That looks really cute, you guys. And it just goes to show that with just some practice, you can kind of remember what things look like and figure out how you want to interpret them for yourself.
So here we are.
So
Organic
neat.
rose. Oh,
You know, sometimes this happens. You forget to grab something. That's the
yes.
reality of designing.
Organic
You're like
rose.
working with groups and layers and clipping masks, and things get crazy.
And then the next one's gonna be a lavender. Lavender is easier.
Lavender is easier. It's true. It's true. So cute. I'm excited to see it all come together. And it's really interesting to just like, I love how you're just like leaning into the illustration for this design instead of, you know, just expanding the world with every single little element. I think that's really thoughtful, and it's going to make the packaging just be so like, wow, there's so much happening here.
Yeah. You want people to look at the whole packaging. You don't want them to look at just the front, you know? But it's not just it.
Exactly. Now you're making them want to look at all aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. Here, little tip.
So cute to see these. Do you ever create any like illustration libraries for a brand? Like, you know, if Sweet Smile was a real brand, would you create a lot of illustrations that they can use for social or for other elements? Like they'd be able to use any of these for social?
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes you create them a library, you take this apart, and then they can use it whatever they want because there's so much expansion there. And you know, sometimes you can even do a few social media for them if they're willing to pay for it. And you know, it's gonna be really helpful for them because it's give them a little guide how to do it properly. Because sometimes you need to take initiative like, hey, I want this brand to look right, and just talk to them about it, and they're gonna be open.
Yes, I agree with you too. And then that gives them like, they look way more like custom instead of cookie cutter. Can you tell me like what that is that you're using where you're doing like a reverse eyedropper?
A
Right?
reverse eyedropper? Yes. So you click this eyedrop and then you hit option. Let's say here restart. You click that eyedrop button, you click the color that you want, and you press option, hold it, and then click on another color, and then it's gonna
And it
switch
drops it. That is so cool. I was seeing that you were doing that, but I was like, wait, I thought maybe you were doing like using the direct selection and then doing it, but no, you're using eyedropper. That is so handy. It's like, yeah, I'm calling it reverse eyedropper. I'm sure it has a specific name, but just because you get to decide where the style goes, wherever you select the eyedropper, that is so cool with just the option key. A little handy tip here from Dany. He was doing it like it's second nature to him. So I had to call it out for anyone watching who's interested in learning all those little shortcuts that make you work faster. I feel like you know so many, and they're just like natural to you. You don't even think that it's like a secret.
Yes. Do I spell diary right?
Dairy. I think it's Diry.
DIR.
Dairy. It's
Dairy.
Yes, dairy.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. It happens
Yes.
to me all the time. I have to Google, make sure it's natural.
Yes.
Oh, this is so cool. So what are you going to write for this last one?
Gluten-free, because it's for
Gluten
everyone.
free.
Everyone says welcome to join this earth revolution. Because even you gluten-free, you diet-free, or even if you none of this and you still able to eat it. So everyone can be a part of this. That's the main
I
goal.
love it. This is so cool. You have filled up the space beautifully. Everything is like in harmony. Everything looks the same style, the same illustration style. This is amazing. I just love how this came together.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, here we are. I think I might add the little tick in there.
A little, oh, okay, some little rays,
All
adorable.
right. She's happy.
She's she's happy to be there and she's glowing from the sun.
Ah,
Getting into our universe metaphors. Okay.
so we're
So
almost done here. This can be, I think, refined, but you get the idea. So here
yes,
we are.
yes,
Here's
yes.
the full pack. You have the side of pack. You have the top of pack, and it's so fun to go through.
I love,
And
can you zoom in to the farm for us? It's
yes.
just so adorable. It's another really smart use of the cake pop. I feel like you have the cake pop just in the front. You also have it in the back and then over on the other side. So you really tackled like all three kind of angles other than the nutrition panel. Like it, no matter, even if it's on the shelf and it's like on the side, you still know what cake pop you're looking at. So I think that's really cool and very thoughtful. Now, what do you think we're gonna do next here for your part of your process?
So next, let's do some mock-up and see how it look.
This part is so exciting to me. I love this part because I feel like it brings it into real life, you know?
Exactly. So I have this lineup already in flat so that we can start putting in Photoshop.
Let's do it.
I have it here. So let's open it. Photoshop.
Do, 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 do.
Do,
Do you
I did.
usually do you have a place where you go for your favorite mock-ups?
I kind of like use this kind of everywhere and look it up, but I think one of it is Creative Market is have really, really good mockup. Mockup Maison is very good too. If you want to look it up, they have a really high. Let me show you real quick.
Let's do it.
Mockup Maison. There we go.
Oh,
Those
cool.
are very cool. And look at the website, it's beautiful.
It
And this
is, it is.
looks so real. Like
It does.
it's
It
the
looks super
lighting.
legit.
Exactly. And they're not expensive, 15, 20
Yeah, and you
bucks.
can put it in your portfolio and really make it like just look super professional, like you were talking about earlier. Presentation is everything. And so if you can present it in a very like beautiful way, it's
Yeah.
totally worth it.
So now, I know that the mockup that you find are like, oh, it looks like it fit, but actually it doesn't actually the size of your what you're designing, but there's a trick that I just go around it. I can show it to you. But
Show us
otherwise,
all of your tricks, Danny. We're here for that.
so but otherwise you can, if it's a real product, you're gonna shoot it. But here
That's
it's
true.
not. But we can do this. It's still gonna look amazing.
I believe in you 100%, Danny. I hope everyone in the chat is ready to see this brand come to life. We've been working so hard on it, watching you
Mhm.
sweat, and now we're gonna see it come together. Okay.
So select this and let's drop it in here.
Drag and drop from one program to the other. I hadn't seen that happen like that before, so that's already new to me.
And then now we're gonna scale it up. Obviously, you can see it's not fitting. Like you panicking. Oh my god! I just
Oh
spent
my
money
gosh, we're
for this.
freaking
It doesn't
out.
work. We're freaking out. And the cap at the top. Oh my god! It's like thicker. So this is what you're gonna stretch it. Stretch it, and then let's separate the top and the bottom
Okay.
so that you can stretch the cap as well.
Okay, let's do it. What tool are you going to use for that?
So let's do this convert to smart object. So it's there. So now you can separate and just duplicate.
I'm
And then
curious
just
okay, with the
just mask
selection
it.
tool.
Here,
Okay,
right
mask
here,
it.
mask it. And you have the top. You have the bottom.
Ooh. I'm so interested. I feel like masking is very complicated in my mind. So when I see other people do it, I need to know everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have like 2 masks on each?
Let me see real quick. Apparently it's not working.
It happens. It's confusing sometimes, you guys, when you're working live and you're trying to make sure everything is okay. Perfect.
So now let's deselect this and stretch it down. And right here, scale it.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. So here we are. Hit save. Doesn't look too bad, right?
Yes. No, you can't even tell. It looks like how you designed it.
Yeah, but if you want to even sacrifice yourself, select the whole image and stretch back.
Oh,
now it's proportional.
Oh, that is so smart. You just said, let's squish the whole thing. The whole mock-up is going to get squished. And now it's like the exact proportions that you originally designed. I hadn't thought about that. And that is super smart because, you know, you can, the mock-up is not precious. The design is precious.
Yeah. You want to crop in a little bit because it's too zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. Perfect. And let's do the other one because now it's perfect. You don't have to stretch out here anymore. Just stretch from the inside and come out here. It's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, because you already did it that first time.
And now let's do the top.
Oh, I'm excited about this part. Because the top is like subtle but very, very cute.
Yes. Sorry. Whoops.
So many tabs, you know, you guys, so many tabs.
No.
Let me know in the chat if your mind is blown about how beautiful this mock-up is already looking. I'm sure this is going to make it just take it to the next level right now. I can't wait to see this. Perfect fit.
Perfect fit.
Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. It looks so legit and real. I can imagine this cake pop at the store already.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's like little white here. You can just come in Photoshop yourself. Just create another layer, but multiply, and just pick the color here and just go over it. But I mean, it's precise work. I won't spend too much time here, but you know what? I show you how to do it.
You gotta zoom in and really do it delicately, but you can do it and no one would know.
Yeah, no one would know.
How would you know?
Here we are. So the brand is master is green. So for the case study, it's good you have to own the green because the green is the evergreen color of the brand. So it's really accented.
Yes, that's the color you're trying to play up. Oh, it does also look really cool. Yes, it looks like ice cream, green. Like I'm ready to eat that. That looks so cute. I can't wait to see what the other ones look like.
Yeah. So, you know, like we have 4 flavor. You can literally duplicate this and extend the other one, and now you have 4. Just little shop.
Yes, exactly.
Photoshop work is, I know it's a lot of labor, I know, but it's gonna be worth it because you're gonna spend a couple K to shoot this, but this gonna, again, sorry.
It's a habit.
And you can do this for
trick questions.
Yeah, what it is. Just forget about it. So, you know, this mock-up cost $15 and it's look close to reality. Like, why not?
Yes, I think that's a really big deal too, because like we were saying before, a lot of your clients, they are business people. They're not visual people. And so when you show them the visual, how it would look like in real life, it really helps you sell the concept even more, right?
Yes, they're like, oh, I believe in it.
Even if they didn't like how it looked in Illustrator, they might love how it looks as the actual package.
it just show that, oh, he's kind of make it real. What's the magic? Like, because they don't know this kind of tool. They don't know what you, how did you do that? Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
get that a
can
lot.
blow their minds with a mock-up. That's very, very true. Because they'll be like, you'll be like, yeah, I printed one. I have exclusive ones in my office, but it's all Photoshop.
Yes. I
Uh,
shoot
yeah, I
it.
shot it. No, you have to be honest with your clients, but it's
Yes,
funny.
it's funny.
Um, okay. Doing the same process here. I just love that you're just owning it. You figured out how to make the mock-up work. There's definitely some mock-ups out there that you can get that are like precise and, have a lot of custom options. But even if you don't, like Danny showing us today, you can make most mock-up work if you just maybe hack it a little bit, do a little
Mhm.
customization. You can make it work for your project.
Then let's
Lovely.
do that.
Sweet honey banana. These look amazing. I feel like the tops really they're like a perfect finishing touch.
Because you don't want it to be repetitive because it could look a little boring. So if you have
Yeah.
the opportunity to make it different, it's fun when you put like when you see of like when you shoot your project, you have one like this and one flip like this. It's give a nice contrast instead of repeating again.
Yeah. That's true.
Unless
That's true.
you, yeah,
Unless that's the vision is to be very
unless that one
tidy.
the exactly,
Yeah.
unless that one the client want and they want it to be the same, so it's sharp easier. Then okay,
Right, right, right.
okay.
And do you usually work with brands once it's time to shoot the product? Or do you have somebody else on your team at Hatch who handles that?
Sometimes we have people attached to do it when it's when it's simple. You don't take a lot of like styling because sometimes we have a lot of prop and styling and setting. It could get a little complicated. That's where you're gonna hire external photographer. But we have a really talented photographer attached. Her name is Lila, and she's wonderful. She's been helping us a lot. And sometimes you can tell the client too, like, hey, it's gonna good for you, it's good for me. So I gonna do free art direction for you, but you're gonna pay for the shoot and let's exchange it. Win-win, win-win.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, it's like an add-on, but it's an add-on that really benefits you as the designer because then you have amazing photos of your work for your portfolio, which Danny said before, super important to get future work. How you present your work, how polished everything looks is a really big deal. Just as big of a deal as the actual strength of the project itself, the design work itself.
Yeah, because you're a designer, you have a vision for your brand and you have the vision what style of the photography that you want. So you have to navigate
Yes.
so everything works together. That's actually the next step. We're gonna show you photo shoot art direction after this mock-up, and we can look it
Ooh, I'm
up.
excited. Stay tuned for that, you guys. I do want to remind you, Danny, that in like 9 minutes, we're going to do our artist spotlight. You still have plenty of time, but just giving you a little heads up there and a little heads up for everyone in the chat, too.
Right, so
This,
here we are. I think you already know what's going on. We hit save. Right here. You have it here.
beautiful.
I think I cropped it a bit too much, but here we are. And we also have this one, but I think you already know how it works. We can jump into this right now.
Whatever you want to do next, we still have 9 minutes before the artist spotlight. And then when we come back, we have another 10 minutes.
Exactly,
So up to
perfect.
you. Yeah.
Yep. So here you have photography art direction. If you put it side by side, it's very colorful. And here
Yes.
you need to have it colorful. What I like about this is like how they shoot the honey. Oh my God, it's like I want to eat it right now. It's so yummy, it's so detailed, it's so dramatic. I love it. I love how this give a fun personal perspective. So let's see on your box laying out and this food style is very imagine this is the ball that she's eating and how delicious this like chocolate is. It's really important detail to play because it's make the consumer want to buy when they see it on Instagram or thing like that.
Yes, this is so cool. So this would be just the mood board for the photography direction, not the mood board for the branding. It's a separate mood board, correct?
Yes, exactly. So I usually included this mood board into the brand guideline. So the client know that, hey, this is the brand, and they show the photographer like, hey, this is the direction that we want.
Right. So they don't
Again,
end up shooting it like in nature and it's like doesn't make
yeah,
sense. Totally different brand. Got it.
exactly.
Okay. Really handy.
So here we have Instagram. So when you think of Instagram, you're gonna think some posts gonna be just type, some posts gonna be the packaging design itself. Another one is lifestyle. So
Yes.
remember these three that you can include differently so they can see how it works. So let's say I choose this one over here.
Perfect. And so you would actually show this to the client, right? Like,
Yes.
this is not just internal for you. This is so the client is aware of the different kind of posts that they can publish on their, in this case, Instagram, but across social media.
Yeah, across social media, and how the pacing work too. Like, oh, this right now we already have lifestyle here. The next one is gonna be the product style, or it's gonna be typography.
Right. Yes. And how do you, Dany, work now? You know, Instagram and social media in general, there's so many sizes. There's vertical, square, like the crops. There's so many different sizes. So how do you deal with all of that? How do you help your client navigate that?
Usually I tell them just stick with the square. And then if you want to expand to vertical for story, you can expand it. But usually when you do that, it's good to, when you create the illustration, create this long, and then at the end you just crop it. So it's easier, you like prepare it instead of just expand it, take a little more time.
Got it. Yes. Yes. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely tricky these days. But there are ways to work around it and just know and prepare for it as a brand and help your clients prepare for it too. Just tell them ahead of time, like, keep in mind, you might want to make this vertical. So we have these longer illustrations. And Dany, we can refer them to the library of illustrations that sometimes you create, depending on the brand. Those illustrations can help them too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
So
my gosh,
here,
this is going to be
let's
so
say if
cute.
you want to repeat that here, it's like really educational and it's engaging people. So you can have a few posts like this, how this ball talking to you, and some of it you have this lifestyle yummy illustration. So it's like a really nice pace.
Gorgeous. I feel like the fact that this little sweet smile vegan pop is like a little person really helps for social media because you can have it speaking, it can have different messages for different reasons, different talking points. It really helps the brand live in like the social media era when you have a little bit of a mascot.
Yeah, if you want to go beyond that, you can hire animator, and you make this ball waving at you or talking or jumping around. It's just so much thing that you can do
There's
with
so much
this.
stuff you can do.
So
Even
much.
now in the world of vertical video like TikTok or Reels, you could even get a mascot suit made
Oh,
and the person,
oh,
the whole mascot can be doing stuff for video. So, you know, I know some brands are doing it. Maybe Sweet Smile is next.
exactly. So here, and show a little extent on the farm, give it like a little context. Where's it at? This is
Yes.
fun.
So fun.
Let's
So
bring
cute.
some leaf here to fill up
Yeah,
the empty space.
just integrating all of those different elements from throughout the branding process into all of the different touch points for the actual brand is so smart.
Exactly. So let's say this here. But then I feel like, what can I do for this? So I think this is what we're gonna do.
I'm curious.
Since everything is outlined, let's create a box for this one. So it
Okay.
can marry with the others.
It can be a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the illustration style, kind of keep those lines going. Since the photography doesn't have any lines, let's bring them back in.
Yeah.
Okay. So many layers happening.
Why is this now? Oh, wrong one. Whoops.
Classic. It happens to everyone. There's so many layers sometimes in these projects. Of course, things get a little confusing. Okay, I'm very interested.
So since everything is rounded, so it has a little frame into it.
Okay. Cute. Yes, because like the speech bubble on the left is rounded. We have a lot of rounded corners. So he's bringing that back into the photography. So it's not just the photo.
There we are.
Have some of the character. Cute.
And then now you have room for typography as well. Like you can put some tagline. You're gonna repeat.
You have the saving. Yes, that one. So neat. Now, a reminder, you guys, it's almost time for our artist spotlight. But if you haven't already, be sure to drop your questions in the chat so we can get to them when we come back. Now, Dany, it's time. It's time for our artist spotlight. The time has come. So let's put that. If you want to put that in the spot, you feel free, or we can just head on over to the artist spotlight. Today we have so for today's artist spotlight, we have Veronique Lafortune. I'm not French. I can't say it in French. I said it in Spanish, you guys. So sorry. But how would you say it, Dany?
I would say Veronique Lafortune.
There you go, you guys. So let's check out her work. It's amazing. Graphic designer. So what do you have to show us?
Yeah, so she actually graduated from UCAM, so it's like the same university as I do. And I think she started her freelance like 5 years ago from now, and she's such like big grow and like it's woman owned, and it's like the whole team is woman power coming together, and she is so talented. Let's look at her work, and this is her team, and look at all of them. They look like badass designer. They
totally
look like they're like supermodel.
Fashion, so fashionable.
Exactly. So her website called Billyclub. We can go on her Behance and look at a few projects or what they do.
Yes, I think it was on the home page there, the Behance.
Whoops.
It's okay. Right there at the bottom, right? Perfect.
Here we are. So one of my favorite work from her is Mush Up. And this is such a beautiful project. It's breathtaking. Look at the photography, art direction. It's beautiful. The illustration is like, oh my God.
The illustration is so complex, but also simple objects, just very connected.
Exactly.
And yes, it's so elegant. The art direction, I feel like, really elevates the entire brand, right?
Yes, it's like she take the illustration out, put it here so people can enjoy it. That you see that representation is so important here, and her and her team did such a good job over here.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's really, really gorgeous. I love how like the illustrations are they feel very organic. I mean, they're very clean because you could tell it's like Illustrator, but then the layout of the actual information is super rigid and like tidy, which is a really big contrast to the connected illustrations. I think that contrast adds so much interest.
And she said that they do a lot of branding, packaging. In Montreal, there's a lot of artists, so they do a lot of like music poster, music cover as well, really supporting their community, really nice people. And she said like at her studio, they don't work on Friday.
Nice.
How happy it is. And I think on Friday she does pottery as well. So she was saying, well, on Friday I'm gonna let everyone from my team do what they love to do and live happily.
Yes, that's so amazing. It's so good to have that work-life balance.
Yes.
And keep yourself inspired too, right?
Yeah,
an extra day to recharge.
Exactly. It's just easy to like have healthy lifestyle. The more healthier it is, the more you can think of the design. Your mind is fresh. Instead of working all the time, your brain's dead.
I love that project. It was so beautiful. The
So
like
beautiful.
organic shapes and then the type just fit so
So well.
nicely together. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's still friendly, but it's still very elevated. And the colors too are really, really cool against the juice
Yes.
colors too. Like you could tell that they thought about the color of the bottle and how it would work with the juice inside of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so just like satisfying.
Satisfying. The type is absolutely beautiful. There's another project I would love to show is the cafe. Oh, because I'm
Cafe
Vietnamese,
con
so
leche.
this is what I
Oh, it's
drink.
Vietnamese. Yes.
Yes, it's
Yes.
Vietnamese coffee shop, and I think it's so beautiful. Is I can recognize it right away in my culture that this is the tile and the kitchen style that we all used to have, and she really take that inspiration and make it more elevated, make it more sophisticated. And I love how
Yes.
it's one color. It's so beautiful.
Yes, so she took that history of the kitchen tile and just made it a really big part of the brand. I think that's so smart, and I love that the icons, they're very crisp again, but then you have the texture. Like
Mm-hmm.
she really brought in texture into this project that we didn't see with the other two, but you
Yeah,
can really like that really makes it feel a lot cozier and less
yeah,
cold, right? If this was flat, it would feel a little cold, and the texture just brings like this homey element to it that I
yeah.
can really appreciate. That
I
looks
think
really
you
cool.
you get it right away when because it has a touch of modern look when it she put on this tie in one color because in my country they own different color. That's why she did a simple twist to make it so modern. It's so smart of her. And you can tell right away it's like family owned because it's kitchen style. They start from the kitchen.
Yes, I love it. It's a very well thought out brand
Mhm.
strategy and with a flawless execution. Let's take a
Yeah.
look at one more. Which one?
Yes. There's one project that she did that I really like.
The Catch. That's the one that I really like. Oh, but I also like this one, the 50 years de I can't say anything, you guys. Equam or something like that.
I'm sorry, which one?
There's two that I
Oh
really like.
yes.
That one and on the
Which
other
one?
one. This one's really interesting. Just a very different approach.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an exhibition education of UCAM. That's what it really
Yes, I
mentioned.
can't read any of this. I'm just gravitating to the icons and the imagery. It's so bright.
Yeah, it's like 50 years anniversary of UCAM. It's like a festival. It's a
It's
art
beautiful and I
festival.
feel like it's so tactile.
Mm-hmm. And she does have this craft side of her. It's make it so wonderful. She has like computer, she
Yes. I
digital, and now
I
she
thought
going.
that it was like it's like a felt or something, a foam, and you
Mm-hmm.
cut it to create these really cool shapes. And it really adds like such a different and interesting elements to the entire design. Like, look how cool to see that go from traditional to
Yes,
digital.
digital.
It's
So
really, really
simple.
cool and goes to show you can really incorporate anything into your design process if you want to.
Yes, and they put it into the space as well. You have to think it in a 3D form. It's not just flat. You have to brand
Yeah,
the whole space.
exactly. It's so well thought out. And I love that even though, this is cleaned up, like you can tell it's very clean lines, she still
Mhm.
kept the organic kind of outlines to give it a little bit of character, a little bit of style, like you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before.
Exactly. Let's look at one last one.
Yes,
Okay,
do it, do it, do it.
let's do it. This one.
That
Kind
one,
of
that's the one that I
similar.
would like to.
Yes, kind of similar what I'm doing. Like the illustration is so fun. It's so cookie. Like
It's
the way this is.
so cool. It has so much character.
Yeah, because like in Montreal, they have a lot of this distillery, this distillery,
Distillery?
distillery. Yeah, they have a lot of beer, and it's a ton. So the market is very big. So she does a really good job here with this illustration.
It's amazing. I just love the combination. There's a lot of copy happening,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Yes.
still the illustration is still so big. It still like dominates the can, and
Mm-hmm.
yet she created the space, or the team created the space for
Yes.
all of the copy and all the little details that make it feel really put together.
Yes. Oh my God.
This is so
beautiful.
aspirational. It's beautiful. And I can see what you mean. It's kind of like what you worked on, what we're working on today.
Mm-hmm.
Similar vibe.
Yeah. So
Maybe a
uh,
lighter stroke.
a lighter stroke, kind of like a different style,
Yes.
but it's
A rose. It's
with a
so
rose as it's
cool.
walking. It's so
A
weird.
rose walking. Yes, it's again like putting a little face on characters, bringing things to life. I just love everything about this, the type, the illustration, how she married it together on the layout of the can. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for showing us their work, Dany. It's been amazing.
Yeah, so follow Veronique Lafontaine on Behance and follow her team. They're talented people and they look like supermodel.
Yes, of course, of course. Now, before we move on, don't forget to submit your recommendations for creatives to highlight for our next artist spotlight. Just head over to the artist spotlight tab at the top of the chat and you can send your nominations. So if you're on YouTube and you're like, where is that button? Come over to Behance, behance.net/Adobe Live. And at the top of the chat, you'll see the button that says artist spotlight and you can send your nominations to possibly get featured in our next artist spotlight. Okay, Dany,
Okay.
let's get back to work. This is the last stretch of this packaging design process. Let's do it. What are we going to do next? And one more thing I'm going to remind everyone in the chat, if you have questions, bring them to us in the chat on Behance, and we're happy to answer while we learn here from Dany. And now we are creating the Instagram graphic. It's where we left off. I'm so excited to see this.
So we're gonna finish up the Instagram so that you can see where it go because depending how much time we have like poster next, but then I think if you can visual this Instagram, how I explore it, you can visual how the poster gonna look like. So
yes,
it's good.
Perfect. We have time to work. Okay, so that looks so cool. And I think the frame adds just a little bit of interest that makes it feel different and kind of makes the photography more a part of the brand. But it's still like fast and easy, right? Because you want the brand to be able to easily kind of use these different templates. Do you provide templates for the clients usually? Like, okay, here are some social media templates for your Instagram or anything like that?
Yes, usually you give the template for them and they can just replace the images. The more you do, the better because they gonna keep it as brand as they can. And remember that when you do this social media, always pick on the element from the pack and bring it here so it's coherent. You can create something new thing, but don't go too far because sometimes you get carried on, like you look back, oh, too far from the brand.
Right. Yeah, you can definitely get carried away and then lose sight of the brand guidelines that you originally set if you start experimenting too much. Oh, this is really cool. I love it. Now you have more space to drop in more information. I think that is a really smart move.
So
what kind of what kind of templates do you usually recommend? Like, what kind of different kinds do you do for your clients?
So it's about usually I give it in Illustrator. So if they want to modify this illustration, they can. But when it's come to something just photo, maybe you can give it in InDesign as well. So it's really up to you.
Got it. Okay. And do you feel like you have to help your clients understand the template, or do they usually have a designer that can work it for them?
Usually they have a designer that's gonna work for them.
Perfect.
So usually you hop in a call and they explain, go through it so that they understand what they would do to keep it on brand. Sometimes the client could get carried away too, and it could go a little off brand. So over here, let's say this is the product and you have the flavor around so they know, oh, so like this shot is gonna be one of the flavor and you have the ingredient that wrap around it so that they they know.
So they understand. Okay, amazing, amazing. I love that you're giving us a little insight as to how you deal with the client once, you're trying to help them have the best social media presence as possible. It can be very hard, but I love knowing that you're like, you're doing the best you can to help them out and make sure the brand stays as great as you created it, right?
Yeah. So here I'm gonna put it back to the frame. And since we have the frame, sometimes you can like scale it up, scale it down, more space around. It's so much game that you can play around this. It's endless.
Definitely. And I'm so curious how many layers you're working in. I see you have them labeled. I'm just curious because with Illustrator, you can have like infinite amount of layers and they work different than Photoshop layers. So I'm curious how you're organizing your layers for this project when you have a chance, when you're done creating this.
So usually when in Illustrator, you try to avoid less grouping layer as possible because it's gonna make it crash or heavy. So avoid that. Because sometimes you work and sometimes it's in a group, in a group, in a group, in a group. And sometimes you do it by accident too, like you don't even know. Yeah.
That's true. That's really smart, you guys. A little tip there. Keep the grouping simple and work with your layers. I feel like it's such a hard decision. Like, is this a layer? Is this a group? Dividing it. So I like to see how you're doing it here. That feels very like sensible.
Yeah, because I usually have template at the bottom. Template mean this background that you don't want to move, so you can hit it lock. You don't move anything.
Nice.
And then you have art is where this graphic coming in. And then after that, you have type over here. So you have some type in one layer. Sometimes there's so many things in there. You don't want to move to lock the thing, just move the type and lock. And then at the top, I have guide. So sometimes you want to align it, you have guide in one layer. So work is smart that way because at the end, you don't have to like dig it in like, oh my gosh, where is it? Which layer?
Where is it?
Hey, where is it? Or when you send it to your production guy, he will be a little happier.
Got it. That is so smart. And so you say in general, you always have those 4 layers?
Yes, exactly. Usually I have these 4 layers. Sometimes I have a photography layer too, like food production photography in one layer. But it is depending what you're comfortable with. But that way you don't have to spend another hour to clean up everything before you send to your production.
Yes, which I have done before. So thank you so much for that organization tip. I feel like it's maybe underrated to keep your layers so tidy, but it is a game changer throughout your process. If you just get used to it, you're going to feel like a boss, right? You have somebody wants something. I have it I know exactly where it is. That calms your mind and your process a lot. So tell me what we're doing for this last Instagram post.
So I just want to, let's in case you guys are running out of photography shooting, let's say they only afford to shoot 10 photos. What do we do? So here we can like create it in a really graphic way as well with the mockup. I mean, this is not on a mockup, but let's say this is the mockup. You clip it out and make it graphic.
Yeah, you have just another element to play with because you're right. That can definitely hold back some brands like limited photography or, like the last few years, maybe it's been harder to get new photographs taken. This is a really cool solution to kind of help the brand and get that problem solved before they even notice that it's an issue. Give them some extra things to work with.
And I have that section divider on my packaging. Well, we can repeat it here.
Exactly. So smart. Now, Dany, I'm giving you a little heads up. We have about 9 more minutes left on the stream. All right, just so you know. Okay, so this is looking so good. I love that you're showing us everything from the questions that you ask the client all the way to the social media posts and templates you can create for them. And I have a question. Do you present it to them in this like green mock-up or do you present it in another way?
You mean like the green
phone? Yeah,
I usually do that because depending on the brand, this brand is like green is the color, so I just want to keep it on brand.
Got it. Okay.
That's why I keep it green. And then usually I don't use real mockup because font update all the time. And then a year later, oh, I have to find a new one. So just
Yeah.
make it like
That's
this
true.
and keep it the same for all your projects. And you
That's
can
true.
just
Yeah. That way it's a little more universal.
exactly. Yep.
Cool. Cool. And do you have somebody on your team or that you work with to do like the copy for the post, or do you usually just have the mock copy, the lorem ipsum?
Um, I usually would design this separately, and I have some space for lowering some, and then I can ask my copywriter to come up with the amount of text that I want. So let's say
Yes.
I only want 3 words because without it, you're like, oh my gosh, she came up with a lot.
Yeah. Like, oh, I wanted copy, but not that much copy, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be very specific. I need
Yes,
5 words, please.
yeah, because you already have it here. So just so you know, I'm trying to fit it here. So thank you. So here we
Exactly.
are. Yes.
It's better to ask for exactly what you want
Yes.
than
Always be
leave room for
specific.
error. Yes.
Exactly.
Communication.
Always be specific, never assume because you have surprise the other you want to.
Yes. Save yourself the headache. This is
Mhm.
looking so good. I feel like
Yes.
this brand is ready to launch, ready to go.
Mhm.
Amazing.
So let's say this is a pack, and then you can have a color in the background. You can expand more of that farming illustration if you want. It's almost this pack is layering on an illustration wall. So that's could be very fun too.
Yes. And I see, like you mentioned, there's so much room for maybe animation too, right? Like I could see so much of this design be like marquee animated or
Mhm.
have the actual characters come to life. Do you do any of that kind of animation, or do you tend to hand it to somebody else?
It depends because I do have the skill. So I usually would love to do them because I do have a vision for it. And if you don't, then it just ask the client if they have the budget to hire someone freelance to do it because it's really worth it. Because if you think of it, when people scroll on Instagram, when things move, it's catch more attention than things more static. So it's really a trend these days doing animation for the brand. So don't be afraid to pitch the idea, suggest it to the client, and see what they say. You don't know
I
until you try it.
I agree. It could be really worth it for them. How did you learn animation?
I had one class in a school, and I fall in love with it, and I just learned it on my own because there's so much free tutorial on YouTube that you can watch and learn it by your own because that program is so large that there is no way you learn everything in class. So as long as you love it, you can learn it.
Yes, with a little bit of initiative. I think you're totally right. In all of the Adobe programs, there's so many ways to accomplish something that really it's up to you to find the way that works for you, learn what you want to learn and apply it. And sometimes that's taught in school, sometimes that's going to be a YouTube video, or sometimes it's going to be an Adobe live stream just like this. So I can't agree with you more. And I am obsessed with these little, is that going to be a little tree? It looks like or a little sun.
A little ball that float around the farm, just like
It's
in the other
imaginary
illustration.
farm. We can do whatever we want. I love
Exactly.
it.
Because the tagline is utopia, right? So it's beyond your imagination.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yes.
Dany, when you have a chance, tell us a little recap, give us a little recap of everything that we did today, because we've done so much. And, I want to have some time to go over everything that we learned in this stream for anyone who maybe missed any part.
Yes. So today we did expand from 2 flavors to the rest of the flavor, and we're just having fun creating this face. I know some of this is not perfect, but you get the idea. And after that, we did design the top of the pack, and it's worked beautifully. And then we did test the design into over here as well to see if it works or it doesn't work. So really important step before you present to the client, just double check because sometimes the whole range is, blue, and you pick blue and it doesn't work, like, oh, you have to go back and swap the
Yes,
color.
I think this part was like so practical and informative for everyone on the stream. Like you can literally make a mock-up of your competitors and place your product right next to it. So you can explain to the client why this design is the best, why this is your recommendation. And you can also maybe tweak anything if you notice that something's a little off or you look too much like a competitor. This is your chance to kind of fix it.
Yes.
So this was really, really handy.
It's helped to sell the design to like, oh, and here we did do a full pack.
Yes,
over here,
the full wrap.
And then retelling the story all around, and it's really help people, and it's navigate, it's interacting with you, it's talking to you, it's fun, it's quirky.
And then I love this part. You added so many elements there too.
Yes, and then I did some mock-up and I show you guys how to hack it, and here we are. It worked just fine. We didn't have time for this, but I think you get the idea.
Definitely.
We look at some photography or direction for the client so that you can include in your brand guideline. And then we did some social media work. And from here, it's easy to expand into posters if you like. But on website as well, I know we didn't have time to go through this, but I'm gonna post this case study on Behance. It's gonna be available on Adobe Live project, so you can really see the final product if you're curious at the end.
Dany, you covered so much. I feel like since yesterday to today, we have gone through the entire packaging design process. You've showed us all of your tips. You showed us how fast you work. I know so many people were impressed by your speed. And I just think that like you have so much knowledge about packaging design that you were able to share with us throughout the stream, and you brought this brand to life in like such an unexpected way. I really appreciated everything throughout this process. And honestly, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and for showing us sweet, simple. I am so excited to sweet smile. I wish I could purchase this. And I thank you for sharing this whole project with us. Thank you to everyone who joined us throughout this stream. Make sure to follow Dany on Instagram and on Behance so you can catch this entire project when he posts it. Now, in the meantime, stay tuned for the Premiere Pro Challenge with Ryan Selvey right after this stream. Adobe Live will be back tomorrow with our evangelist for a full day of masterclasses, followed by a new episode of Office Hours with Nick Longo and Andrew Hockrattle. See you next time, friends. Thank you so much, Dany, for sharing everything with us.
Thank you so much for everyone to be here. I was so happy, and I hope you learned a lot from me.
I'm sure they did. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.